Yeah, I guess basically if you could just talk us through how you came to Oakland. What was the negotiation like? How long did it go on? What drew you to this club?
So Simon, yes, when they reached out to my previous club last year, they asked that there was an interest in talking to me. Obviously, we were in the middle of the season, and I asked that yes, that I was interested, that I wanted to talk, but I wanted to wait until the end of the year because I wanted to respect, where I was before. And then after that, obviously in December, they picked up the phone again, and they contacted me. Since that day, I think we had good conversations in which I explained what it was important to me in order to be able to have, so I could provide for the city, for the organization, and for the players. That to me are the most important thing. And that was kind of like how the conversation started. And after that, obviously, we had more conversations with different parts of the organization. And until this day, it's just everything aligns. Everything aligns. I do believe that the values of the organization, of the club, aligns with my personal values as well, and that's something that is important to me. Also, they talked to me about the importance of for the club and the community, and this is something that it was huge for me too. I wanted to make sure that if I was going to go somewhere as a head coach, I was going to have the ability to represent the city, to represent people. I wanted to go to a place that had a clear identity, and I think that's Oakland. So obviously there were a lot of boxes that checked, and that's how everything started. That was kind of like the foundation, and then after that, obviously we started adding layers and more conversations, and everything lined up, and I'm very happy it did, because everything that was said since the beginning, they have stood behind their words, and it's just not just words or putting things on paper. They have executed, and we can see it now. We can see it here, and like I always say, it doesn't have to stop here. Just because we're in a great place and it's unbelievable, we have to make sure that when this is done, is what's next. What do we do now that we can keep growing, that we can keep developing, in order to be able to provide for the players, provide for the city, and then just all working together, try to make this organization one of the top organizations in North America.
Yeah, I mean, on Devin Kerr's podcast, you touched on the organization professionalizing itself, and since then, a bunch of signings, add Lindsey Barons to the mix, open this beautiful facility. Talk about the process of professionalizing the organization since you've came on.
Yeah, professionalizing was huge, right? And it was a word that I was using a lot during my conversations with ownership and with Jordan, the technical director of the club. That was important to me, to be able to make sure we professionalize, in my opinion, more than the technical side, which is the side that is closer to the players. Being able to have a top of the notch training ground in which the players can come in every morning and feel good, feel professional. We can dignify their profession, and that way, if they feel good, you're influencing the environment. That's going to influence their behavior right away. There's a good environment in which we're going to manage it, and we're going to try to protect it as much as we can. And then the players' behavior out there on the pitch is most likely going to be positive. And that's what allows me the opportunity to demand, to push, to make sure that things kind of like work out. So when I mentioned, yes, that the importance of professionalizing everything we do is to provide for players, to understand that we're a soccer club, we're a football club, and the most important asset to a football club is the players, and we provide for them, and then they'll make sure to provide for the club, for the organization, for the city that they represent. And this goes in the values of the organization and in my personal values as well. It's about how we can come in and make sure that that we can leave this place better than we found it. And to be very honest, it's going to be very interesting and hard, because this is an amazing place right now. We came into a great organization, and just look around and look what we have. So we must make sure that whenever our time is up in Oakland, whenever we leave, whoever comes in, he finds this place way better than we did.
Sometimes like your a bit more of the values, but in terms of your football philosophy, without giving too many secrets away from other teams listening, how do you want this team to play? What can fans expect from the team this season?
So it's great, because I know you guys love this question, and everybody asks about this question, And yes, I'm possession oriented, possession with a purpose. I want to keep the ball. I want to make sure that we're offensive minded. But at the end of the day, I do believe that what's huge on the way you want to play, style of play, or game model, it's the players. It's what the players, what can they give you, and it's that, and this is what this 6 weeks is. Obviously, we have identified players that we want to bring in. We kept a core group and a solid base from last year. When you put those two together, we have a clear idea of the way we want to do things. But I can guarantee you, and almost 100% for sure, that in a 34 game season, things are going to change, things are going to transform, and we must be able to adapt, change, and transform. So what I can guarantee you is that we're going to be a team that is going to have a lot of character, we're going to be intense, we're going to be aggressive, and when we have the ball, we're going to try to take care of it in order to create chances when we attack. As simple as that. We're going to attack together, we're going to defend together, and hopefully we can represent this club and organization the right way.
As for roster building, a lot of defense was added, also retained, a lot of value retained. Describe the philosophy you've taken with roster building this offseason.
For us, it was important to obviously retain a core of last year. I'm huge on that, and you could see this especially in the USO. It doesn't happen very often. Many clubs, they build their roster over and over again, year after year. And I think in order to something that's going to be sustainable over a long period of time, we have to make sure we have a solid base. And that solid base was going to be provided by the players returning. As simple as that. Those guys already understand what the city is, understand what the organization is, understand what they are representing, and also they have I respect them hugely, a huge amount, because of what they went through last year and all of the things that they have to deal with, and they were still coming in, working hard, and fighting for games in every single game. And that to me is something that it's character. And character is something that I don't negotiate, and those guys that are coming back have that, and that was important for me. It provides a huge platform in order to build from there. And when we started the roster was, okay, who's returning under contract, and then I mentioned who are the guys that were not under contract that I wanted back. After doing that, we identify people that I believe will be good in this league, will be good for the organization, and it's young players that can be here for many years until hopefully we can't afford them anymore. Because that's the way I want to see things. I want to be able to target and identify young players, bring them in. They could do a good job with us until we can't afford them anymore, then they can go somewhere else. It's about growing players and helping them develop, and helping them become their best version or their better version. If we can do that, I think we'll be successful.
In terms of, compared to some other coaches perhaps in the USL, you obviously have fairly recent experience of playing. You know what it's like for guys on that side of the line, and now you're stepping to the other side. How exciting is that for you? But how also is it useful to have that kind of recent, fresh experience?
Correct. It's exciting. I think I can relate a lot to the players on the pitch. I can relate a lot to the players on their personal life. We listen to similar music. I see the guys. The way they dress, we dress very similarly, so that's what I'm saying. We can relate in a lot of things. Also, I think just because I don't necessarily think or believe that just because someone's done something for a long period of time, they can be better at it than someone that hasn't done it for a long period of time, or vice versa. At the end of the day, it's about what are you doing to get yourself ready. How are you educating yourself? What are the things that are you doing in order to be able to compete, in order to be able to motivate, and in order to be able to manage? Because if you can have your players compete, motivate each other, and then you as a coaching staff or a coaching member can make sure you manage those emotions on the players, I'm pretty sure that it will put you in a position where you can lead, when you can lead players. And at the end of the day, that's what we have to do as coaches. We have to make sure that we lead. We have to make sure that we're a role model, and also that we can get the players believe in what we're doing. And I always mention this, and you guys are probably going to hear this a lot from me. I don't like players obeying. That to me is not good. I don't obey. It's for other things. Probably not for me. Not in the way that that I have my philosophy. I want my players to believe in what I'm saying. And in order to do that, I have to get them to buy in. And in order to get them to buy in, they have to feel part of the process. So you have to pass on a bit of responsibility. And that's how we build. At the end of the day, like we said, it's going to be 34 games, US Open Cup, hopefully the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of games. And at times, the ride is going to be turbulent. If the players are just obeying to what we're saying, you lose them in those moments. Now, if the players feel part of the process, if you passed on responsibility and they believe in what you said, they're going to push back. They're going to keep fighting and they're going to throw punches with you. And that's what I want. So back to your question, I feel motivated. I feel ready. If I didn't feel ready, I wouldn't have taken this step forward. And I can't wait. I can't wait to lead this group of players that till this day they're making me proud every single day. What we have asked, what we're trying to teach, they're little by little buying in. And I just hope that we can become a family.
Yeah. Well, like you just mentioned there, it sounds like you have a clear vision. We spoke with Jordan. He talked about working with you to deploy your vision and install it. Talk about your vision for the team and your focus on building this team.
Yeah, my vision for the team, obviously we want to make sure that we utilize the platform that we have as an organization in order to provide. And we can provide for the players that are here in order to get them better and help them reach their best version and reach wherever they want to go. We can provide for a coaching staff in order to come in and they can grow, they can develop, they can teach, they can lead. We can provide for a city, we can provide for the town of Oakland, for the young talent. With Project 5.0, it's very important for us. It's having that clear path of listen, this is a route that you could take where you could end up in the first team. So it's having that clear path of that it's a well-structured pyramid, that it works. And in preseason right now, we have 3 very young guys, 2 that are 17, one that is at 18, and I want them in preseason with us all year. And I talked to them the first day, and I said to them the importance of who those 3 guys were to me. He said, probably you'll be somewhere else and you're not going to be as important to other coaches or other organizations. But to me, the 3 of you are very important because if you stay here for 10 years, or hopefully if you go somewhere else, you guys are representing this organization. And then next year, in 2 years, whoever comes in are going to say, well, these 3 guys were there 3 years ago. And that's how we create sense of belonging. That's how you create love. That's how you create respect for the city and the organization that you represent. And it's not always putting responsibility on the older players or putting that weight of culture on the always players. It's teaching and putting responsibility on the young ones too. And with our second team, we have that. We have a clear path in which players can grow and develop. The coaching staff for the second team has been unbelievable too. They've been with me since first day over here because the staff for the first team hasn't arrived yet because they're working on their visas. And it's great. It's great to have an organization that has a clear pyramid and that we represent the same crest, the same city. And it's just doing things that align and things that make sense.
Okay.
Great to hear. It's cool to see, like in the training that we did do this morning, the young guys are playing with confidence, which is I'm really curious. Like from the outside, this is about last season, especially the start of the season, where a lot of stuff went on on the pitch.
Yeah.
When you saw them go through that run of, I think it was 12 without a win, or 1 win in the first 12, and then they start to go on this amazing run toward the playoffs. What were you thinking? What was the kind of like outside looking in?
So for Oakland, obviously I wasn't here, right? So
Yeah.
I was not seeing everything from the inside. But I remembered our first game versus Oakland in Phoenix, and I was getting ready to play you guys, and you guys had a bye week on the first game. You guys didn't play, so I couldn't find film or tape absolutely anywhere to them. And also you guys had changed coaching staff, there were new players, so I didn't know what to expect. I knew the personnel that was here, but I didn't know too much. After the game's done, I remember walking in the locker room. I sat down and I told the staff member, I said, I'm not looking forward to playing these guys 3 more times. And I wasn't wrong. The season didn't start well for the club last year, but you guys had something. There was character on the field. There were good players. They're very good players, and there was a right mixture too of I think youth and experience, which could make things good if you know how to manage them. So you guys had a lot of obviously ups and downs last year, but what I take are the good things and the things that I can utilize and I can use them in order to keep growing. And it's that is what I told you is bringing back those 14 players from last year. That provides that platform and that structure of this is where we were as an organization last year. This is where we are now. So what are we doing in order to keep growing and get to the next stage? And at the end of the day, that's what I want. That's what I want for the organization, and that's what I want for the players is continuous growth. That's the way it is, and that's how it is in life, and that's how it is in soccer and professional sports. I told the guys this morning, the formation, system, styles of play, yeah, it's great, but we're gonna start playing the season, and after 4 games, teams are gonna watch us, teams are gonna analyze us, and we're gonna have to be able to change, we're gonna have to be able to transform, we're gonna have to be able to adapt. We're gonna have to be able to grow, and we must develop. If we don't do those things, then we're done obviously as a soccer team, and also it wouldn't work. We couldn't be competitive if we can't do that.
Emra commented on the strides you guys have made in just 3 days of practice. Kind of elaborate on the strides you're seeing from the team and what your first impression from these first week of practice.
As a coach, I couldn't have asked for more. We have a great group. We have a great group of players, and the way when I talk to them and I look at them in the eyes and I see them absorbing and I see them trying to execute. And I always tell them, listen, we as staff members, we're going to provide you with information. Hopefully that information becomes knowledge to you. Just because you have the knowledge, it doesn't mean that we know how to execute it. Then after you have the knowledge, we're going to go on the training pitch and we're going to try it, and we have to execute. And then on the weekend, when the game comes, we're going to get tested. So it's information, knowledge, execution, test. We're going to do that. We're going to teach, we're going to provide. And this is why it was so important for me to have this, to have a place that the players love coming in, because we're going to push them. We're going to demand a lot from them. And when they have to execute out there, I'm going to push and I'm going to demand. But having all of this and them feeling professional, it allows me the opportunity to push as much as I think or I know I can, and for them to grow, for them to develop. And then when we put all those things together, we'll see. We'll see when we get tested. Like I said, it's going to be a 6 weeks preseason with 7 games, and then I just can't stop thinking about RGV. I know it's 5.5 weeks away, but when I go to sleep early, I'm already thinking of what's Wilmer going to do. And that's just how I am, and this is why it's important for me for the players to feel that way, and I believe we're going to be able to create a very good organization and obviously a very good soccer club.
That's a lot. Just in terms of recruitment, very quick, like just interested. It looks like some of the players, obviously, we can see like certain patterns and relationships, perhaps certain avenues that brought certain players to the club. Others fit more the kind of profiles and technical attributes or statistically very strong last season in some aspect. How important are those two things, like relationships, knowledge, familiarity with certain people, and then the technical data?
I think it's huge. It's huge, especially in a team, right? We talk about a team because it is not about individuals. So it's about a team. So relationships are key. It's a key piece. And I told the guys on the first day, I said, just because you guys are wearing the same uniform or everybody looks the same, we're not a team. And they looked at me in a way like, what? What's Juan saying? I said, we're not a team. I said, you've seen Sunday League teams that have better uniforms than we do, maybe. and it's just not like that. That's not a team. A team is a family. And in order to have a family and become a team, it's going to take some time. For now, we're all wearing the same uniform. But little by little, we're going to develop relationships that is going to allow us the opportunity to become a team and a family. You guys have to protect and take care of each other. You have to make sure you care about each other. Once that starts happening, and at the same time you can compete versus each other while you take care of each other, then we'll be a team. So that's important for me, is bringing people that are good human beings, good soccer players. Obviously they have to be technical for the way we want to play. They need to have tactical awareness. But if they don't have the ability to create relationships and be a good teammate, then we just don't want him here.
Speaking of players, there's a couple of players that we don't know much about, so I was hoping to get your description of them. Alejandro Fuenmayor and Edgardo Rito. Our information on them is limited, so in your own words, kind of describe them and what we expect.
So it's two defenders. Alejandro is a center back. He was at Houston in the MLS for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, he played in Venezuela. So he's played at the highest level, first division, in two different countries.
Mm-hmm.
This is a player that has adapted very well to the culture and the system in America of soccer. And he's a guy that we bring in because he's also a good person. He's also a good guy, and he's also a person that has won. He's won in the past, so he understands the importance of all the little details that need to be taken into account if you want to be successful. And he's going to help us create culture. He's also going to be a leader, and the way he plays also suits the way we have envisioned that we want to play. Edgardo Rito is a right back that also has played first division in Venezuela. He's played first division in Colombia. He got brought to the U.S. and understands the culture in the U.S. of the USL Championship, and he trained with the New York Red Bulls pretty much all year when he was playing for the Red Bulls too. Very dynamic, strong, powerful, a lot of strength, can cover a lot of ground, but also has the ability to combine well with players around him. Again, a good person as well that can adapt fairly easily, and that wants to compete, wants to win, and is hungry to keep growing and developing. Just like those two, I could talk about any other player in the roster, and I'm proud to all of them. All of them have been handpicked, and no one has been enforced to me that had to stay here. So every single player that is here, I picked them, and I'm just gonna protect them to the last day that I'm here, because I really want to have them here.
Just finally, that's it from me, bro.
Okay. Let's see. Do I have what? Some characteristics that we can pull from Phoenix in Indianapolis. What you want to deploy from your time there?
From Indy and Phoenix. All right. So from Indy, I'll say Martin's Rennie ability to do so many things. It taught me a lot. He was very hands-on, and he was dealing with a lot of the session and I mean the passing drills, the possession, the tactical aspect. So in India, I was doing a bit more of the managing. So I was managing a bit more players and talking to them and observing and seeing things, and that helped me a lot. It helped me get closer to the players, but also to get close with distance. So I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but I was close to the players, but they also understood that I was a coach, and there are invisible lines that need to be respected. And I learned that. I learned how to balance those things and how to manage those relationships in Indy. With Phoenix was different. With Rick was the other way. Rick is a manager, and he loves managing. He loves managing emotions. He loves managing players, ownership, the staff. And I was a bit more hands-on. I was a bit more running sessions, doing planning, implementing things, doing game analysis, video. So it was the other side of the coin. So I think my time in India, my time in Phoenix brought the right balance to at least what I wanted to absorb and the way I wanted to grow. And like I said, now it's my time to execute, to try to put things in place and make sure that the players do the rest.
Awesome.